All right, so I've got our 4 files open. What I'm going to do is I'm going to just organize them real quick and combine them all into one document. And my gut is to start with the one that's empty as the background. So I'm going to grab the other ones and use the move tool to drop them on to the other file. Since we did use a tripod, I'm just going to hold down Shift when I release, and it will align the pixels. And then we don't need to use any auto aligning. And then I'll go ahead and I'll close out my other 3 documents and get my Photoshop set up right here. So you can see all 4 together now. Now, if we didn't use a tripod, we'd want to grab all 4 and do Edit, Auto Align Layers. I'm just going to do it anyway. It shouldn't really be doing anything, but let's see. Does that do anything? I guess it did. So maybe it's a good idea to do auto align either way. If everything stayed perfectly still, there'd be no need to auto align, if that makes sense. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of label these. Since there's multiple people, I might do something simple like label this one audience. And then if we were working with just one person and they were on the left side or right side, I'd probably just name it, right side, left side. But in this case, I'll just leave it as layer 3, layer 1, and all that. So what's really important for us to do now, though, is to only work on one layer at a time. So I'm just going to have this second layer, which for me is layer 1, on top of the background layer, which is layer 0. And I'm going to, well, gosh, I don't need the background layer really, because it's just there as a safety net, I guess is what I should say, in case I need it. So there's nothing I need to change between the 2 of these, because I'm not going to use this one, really. It's just there in case there's some overlap or something screwed up. So I'll work on layer 3 to layer 1 to start, is what I really should say. And what I need to do is I need to make a hole basically on layer 3 to make these parts of layer 1 show through. Now, where there's overlap, since we have multiple people that moved, we may throw away some of the overlap if like someone's standing in the same spot and we can't make it look like they're in front of or behind each other. So just bear with me, because I think there's going to be an issue here with me standing in the same spot as where the 2 of you are. Does that make sense? And otherwise, I think it'll be fine. Otherwise, I don't think there's going to be any overlap. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a mask on this layer by clicking on the dark circle inside of the white box, if that makes sense, to make a new layer mask. And I'm going to paint with the paintbrush, and I'm going to paint black. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to find where there were people in the layer 1 photo, which I think there was, yep, right up here. So that will reveal her. And I'm going to use a harder, smaller brush here to make sure that I don't accidentally go up in here and erase Hector's leg. But if I did, I could just paint with white to bring it back in. That makes sense? So I'll paint up here and follow the shape of the body here. And then I think the other one was here. Yes. So I'll just paint. Oh, Hector's there too. Okay. I was confused. What's going on? All right. There. Now, assuming that our exposure didn't change for any of these, the sort of overlapping shouldn't be an a problem. We just need to watch out for shadows, like where Hector had a shadow here, or where Renata has a shadow down at the bottom here. Makes sense? So as long as these two aren't overlapping, we can keep them both. Now, over here, if we want me to show, that becomes problematic. Now, if I was behind, a couple feet behind, we could carefully go in along the edge here and just reveal like this. Does that make sense? And I want to make sure I have a soft edge brush that sort of matches the softness of her. And then I could bring myself in. But this is going to look funny because we're standing in about the same spot. That makes sense? Like, when I go and try and bring my feet in, I'm standing, you know, it's like my body's going through years in space. So I'm going to say, all right, we got to lose one or the other, and it's easier for me to just not have painted that in. So I'm going to go back in my history and just remove myself. All right. So we got everyone there twice but me. Now I'll go ahead and put in the audience, and that erases everything, right? So what I'm going to actually do for this one, I think, is I'm going to fill the, since we're only on the bottom half, I'm going to fill the mask with black by holding down Option when I make the mask. So it gets rid of the entire layer, and then I can just paint with white down here, wherever we were in the seats. I was over here somewhere, right? Yes. So we're going to have some overlaps, so we're going to have to be careful. But like this one is easy. This might be complicated. So what I might have to do is I might have to paint the whole head in, and then it's easier sometimes to essentially paint back out, if that makes sense. So I'm going to switch back to black here, and I'm going to use a really soft brush to, you're going to lose some hair, but it'll still be believable. How's that? Believable? All right. And then this is going to be more complicated because we're going to lose the hand, I think. I really like the hand, so I might remove this one. I don't know. Let's see how it comes out. Kind of made your head a little lumpy, I think. What do we think? Believable? Oh wait, the hand. Ah. Oops. So it kind of ends up being a lot of going back over with black, and then going back over with white, and then going back over with black. because especially for like the fingers here, I have to kind of go down into the V of the finger, and it covers another finger, but then I can kind of go back over this to bring that finger back in. And actually this space here I think is too light, so I'm going to have to go and bring in some of the dark of the brown, and then bring back. Kind of looks like an alien finger for some reason, but when we zoom out, I don't think we're going to notice that so much, right? All right, and then I'll see if I can get my head to come in here. Why is my phone ringing? Sorry. Glasses don't look quite right, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a very low opacity and kind of brush ins to get rid of the highlight areas here, because I feel like the glasses had like a halo. Now they kind of disappear, but they're still there, right? All right, what do we think? So here's the original. Oops. Wait a minute.
Forgot some people yet.
Oh man. I forgot a lot of people. Holy moly. All I did was that. Okay. All right, so it's really just this one here that I need, right?
And Renata, she was on the right side in the audience.
Oh. Yeah. All right. So if you're only working with one person, it's a lot easier than if you're working with 4 or 5. So this is going to make it even way more complicated. Oh. Alright, something's throwing me off here. There. There should be pants there. Yes. Okay. Oops. All right, so there's our audience. There's those. So the only one we're missing now is me here, right? Right? We could count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. And I would be the 15th, so that makes sense. Okay. Whew. All right. We would want to do our normal editing, either in Lightroom beforehand, or now that we have all these combined, it would be a good time if we were going to do like any adjustments in Photoshop, for example, to do a levels adjustment layer. Where is it? Come on. What's going on? Something's up here. There it is. Okay. Which I don't know that we necessarily need to do much of anything, but I'm going to just make the blacks a little bit richer and probably the whites a little brighter. And then I'll probably... Do we have anything good to color balance too? What do you think? Anything gray? I guess we could try a t-shirt. Okay, looks like the color balance is pretty good on that. Yeah. I could then add like a curve layer to add some contrast. What do y'all think? You like that? I feel like it's getting too yellow. Okay, I could take out some yellow by pulling my blue up a little bit. Or the other thing I could do, if it's changing my color, I could actually change my blending mode. We didn't dive into too much about blending modes when we were doing double exposure, but one of the things you could do is to change your blending mode to luminosity. And what that's going to do is tell the computer basically to not change the hue of the color or the saturation of the color, and only change the brightness values of the image. So here's with luminosity, here's without. You'll see the, can you see the difference? With luminosity, without. So it should not be changing the color when it's brightening and adding contrast.
And you didn't change the opacity or anything like that, right?
Nope, nope. So I just added this curve, and this is with it at normal, and then, whoops, this is it with luminosity. Now, at the same time, if you were doing something else to things and you wanted to adjust maybe just the saturation and not the brightness of an image, you could change it to just saturation. Or you wanted to only change the color hue and not the brightness. Or, and I'm not quite remembering what the difference between hue and color is, but if you were changing if you wanted to change a color and not change the brightness of it, you could try those. All right, I'm gonna stop recording.